All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, man. We are back on the Grunge channel, all right? We got these one-hit wonder stories are awfully tragic. Again, shout out to them for the video. Shout out to y'all for coming over. If you've seen this video already and watching along with me, I appreciate all the love and support, man. Shout out to all the good humans. Link is always in the description for those who are asking. Let me see if I know any of these songs. See what happened, man. It's always crazy when you see a video like this. You know it's probably going to be some death in here. We'll see. We ain't going to waste no more time. Let's jump right into it.
What happens after your 15 minutes of fame runs out? Sometimes something truly terrible. Just ask these one-hit wonders. Blind Melon hit the scene in 1993, when many of the top-selling rock bands were hard-edged, downbeat grunge acts, such as Nirvana and Pearl Jam. Here, though, was a group strongly influenced by the sounds of the 60s and 70s, including southern rock, psychedelia, and hippie folk rock. Thanks in large part to a captivating music video that garnered significant MTV airplay, Blind Melon's single No Rain became the band's biggest and only hit song.
Only thing is, like, if I don't know the song by the title, because they're not going to play it, because, like, again, with the copyright thing, but hopefully I'll know the names or know them by name, because this don't sound familiar at all.
Peaking at number 20 on the Billboard Hot 100, the mega hit drove album sales too. Blind Melon's self-titled debut LP ended up moving 4 million units. However, no subsequent singles would register in quite the same way. Vocalist Shannon Hoon fronted the whole operation, a man who, with his long hair and high-pitched voice, sold the whole Blind Melon 60s throwback vibe. 2 months after the release of the band's second album, however, Hoon suddenly died, and Blind Melon fell apart. During a tour stop in October 1995, Hoon retreated to the band's bus and apparently passed out. Unable to revive him, his bandmates summoned authorities, who pronounced the singer dead at the age of 28. Hoon was later found to have overdosed on cocaine, which triggered a fatal heart attack.
His heart couldn't take it anymore. He had just run his body down, and, you know, they found him there in his bunk.
Would I Lie to You was one of the hottest songs on the radio in the summer of...
Man, that rock star lifestyle, man. Because, like, I don't know if a lot of these artists be using any drugs before they become a rock star, or it's just that lifestyle. Like, because you look around and you pretty much see everybody doing it. It's like the end thing, but, you know, it can be very, very addicting. So I just hope they're not talking about the S in here, because I'm going to have to trim that out, but I'll leave the links to the full video.
92. Performed by R&B duo Charles and Eddie, the tune added modern, slick production to smooth 70s style soul singing and songwriting. This recipe worked wonders with the public. Would I Lie to You was a smash across multiple radio formats, reaching number 13 on the pop chart, number 15 in the adult contemporary market, and number 59 in R&B. It even went all the way to number 1 in the UK. But Charles and Eddie couldn't replicate the magic of Would I Lie to You. While a couple of follow-up singles charted respectably in the UK, they never gained much traction stateside. And after their sophomore album failed to sell well, Capitol Records dumped the duo from its roster. In April 2001, Charles Pettigrew died. Just before his death, he toyed with the idea of reuniting Charles and Eddie, and he and Eddie Chacon had been sending demo recordings to one another. Pettigrew didn't tell Chacon he'd been diagnosed with cancer, however. He died in Philadelphia at the age of 37. Hip-hop was still a fringe musical movement in 1988. Around that time, however, a number of radio-friendly rap songs brought the style into the mainstream. Get on the Dance Floor was one of those songs. The single, performed by duo Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock, reached number 1 on the dance charts and number 11 on the R&B charts. The duo are also known for It Takes Two, which weaved a Lynn Collins sample with house music beats, a crunchy guitar riff, and memorable vocal hooks and rap lyrics. Often sampled itself and used on soundtracks for decades after, the song hit number 36 on the pop chart and number 3 on the dance chart.
You know, he will forever be remembered for It Takes Two to Make a Thing Go Right.
Yeah.
In 1994, around the same time that Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock's partnership officially dissolved, Rodney Bryce's health began to decline. He had previously been diagnosed with diabetes, and he struggled to follow a diet that would prevent further complications. Rob Bass later told Rolling Stone, He would order 2 cheeseburgers, french fries, a cake, and a Diet Coke. His health was pretty much up and down for years. In the beginning, he was taking pills, and then he had to take shots. It escalated as time went. Bryce was hospitalized in 2014. 2 months later, he died from diabetes complications. He was just 46 years old. In the mid-1990s, nothing else in the radio sounded quite like OMC. The act's hit song, How Bizarre, combined a Spanish guitar riff with a pounding drum beat and lyrics about a carjacking, delivered in a surprisingly upbeat manner. OMC was an abbreviation of the group's full name, Otara Millionaires Club. A rhyme referenced the singer Polyfumana's New Zealand hometown. How Bizarre went to #1 on pop charts in Australia, Austria, and OMC's native New Zealand, and reached the top 5 in Germany, Sweden, the
Brother kind of looked like The Rock a little bit. Never heard of them before. Polynesian? Huh.
UK, and the United States, garnering airplay throughout 1996 and 1997. Neither Polyfumana nor his brother Phil would live to reach the heights of pop stardom again. In 2005, Phil Fumana died at age 41 from a heart attack. Polyfumana died in January 2010, just a few weeks shy of his 41st birthday. A few months later, his death certificate revealed the cause of his death: progressive demyelinating polyneuropathy, a rare and occasionally fatal neurological condition. In 1995, an odd yet catchy dance pop song rocked clubs and radio playlists in both the US and the UK. Its name? Scatman Skibabop. This song consisted of little more than a pulsing beat, electronic instruments, and a man frequently identifying himself as the Scatman, in between bursts of rapid-fire scatting. The Scatman in question was Scatman John, otherwise known as John Larkin, and his self-referential song placed high on the dance chart and pop chart. It also sold huge quantities of records in Europe and Japan. Larkin got interested in scatting to turn his stutter into an advantage. He added scat singing to his repertoire in 1984, by which time he was a well-established songwriter and jazz pianist. Less than 5 years after his unlikely pop breakthrough, Larkin's life and career were cut short. In December 1999, he died of lung cancer. Scatman John was 57 years old. After graduating from high school in Atlanta in the 1990s, Jennifer Scoggins adopted the stage name Jennifer Paige and moved to Los Angeles to make it as a singer. At the beginning of the teen pop era, Paige signed with Hollywood Records. In April 1998, she released her first single, the dreamy, laid-back dance tune Crush. Despite producing a #4 hit in the UK and a #3 smash in the US, Paige never came near the top 40 again.
It was nuts. It was totally nuts, to be honest.
More albums on smaller labels followed, and after they failed to make much of an impression, Paige settled into a career as a commercial jingle singer. In the mid-2000s, Paige's brother and parents all moved to the Nashville area, and she soon joined them. Toward the end of 2007, Paige's mother, Norma Scoggins, complained of fatigue and shortness of breath, which a doctor diagnosed as symptoms of pulmonary hypertension. After a 10-day hospital stay, Norma Scoggins died at age 58. Exactly a week later, Paige's father, 61-year-old Ira Scoggins, asked for a ride to the hospital in the middle of the night to treat severe chest pains. Just about a week later, he died. Paige lost both her parents in less than 3 weeks. A laid-back, hard-rocking, blues-inspired jam, Freeze All Right Now is an eternal stalwart of classic rock radio. Singer Paul Rodgers and guitarist Paul Kossoff left their other groups in favor of Free and recruited Andy Fraser when the bassist was only 16 years old. A track from Free's third album, All Right Now, soared to #4 on the pop chart in 1970. None of the group's next 4 albums produced a single that could crack the Hot 100, and Free broke up in 1973. Fraser went on to record a solo album in 1984. It bricked commercially, as did both of its singles. In March 2015, Fraser's family released a statement announcing that the classic rock musician had died. The premature death was a direct result of 2 chronic health conditions. In the 1980s, doctors diagnosed Fraser with AIDS, and later on Kaposi carcinoma, a type of cancer often developed by AIDS patients. Fraser was 62 years old when he died. Blue Cantrell almost took her debut single all the way to #1. In 2001, the singer hit #6 on the R&B chart and #2 on the Hot 100 with Hit 'Em Up Style, a jaunty tune about getting revenge on your cheating partner by stealing their credit cards. Cantrell's next singles didn't follow Hit 'Em Up Style to those same chart heights. Only one song, Breathe, ever performed well enough to hit the charts, peaking at #70 in 2002. More than a decade later, Cantrell made headlines not for her music, but for a serious health issue. Late one
I
night in
didn't
September
even know.
2014, Cantrell was spotted walking down the middle of the street in Santa Monica, California, evidently experiencing mental health issues. Witnesses say the singer repeatedly shouted that an unknown party had dosed her with poisonous gas.
Oh.
Police were summoned, to whom Cantrell explained that she was a famous celebrity and a one-hit wonder. Authorities escorted Cantrell to a medical facility for a psychological checkup. She has since remained very much out of the limelight. Counteracting the
I was
psychedelic...
gonna say, I was like, I didn't hear that she passed away. Hey, I don't want to get into it, but you heard what she said? Man, I really forgot about her. Yeah, I know that song. Dang.
rock of the late 1960s, Tiny Tim specialized in old vaudeville and 1920s songs, delivered in a shaky falsetto with awkward ukulele strumming.
Johnny Carson.
That's the damnedest act I've ever seen.
Born Herbert Corey, the artist known as Tiny Tim was best known for his thick makeup, unfashionable suits, and unkempt hair. He played regularly at the hip New York club known as The Scene, which led to TV spots, and a champion in Peter, Paul and Mary's Peter Yarrow, who got him a deal at Reprise Records. The 1968 LP God Bless Tiny Tim sold 200,000 units and spawned the number 17 hit single Tiptoe Through the Tulips, a cover of a song from 1929. During his 15 minutes of fame, Tiny Tim married a teenage fan named Miss Vicky on The Tonight Show, giving the program record ratings.
How do you feel?
Well, I really feel great.
Teenage.
2 more albums quickly followed, but they sold poorly.
Hold on, what do you mean teenage? How old was she?
And by 1970, Tiny Tim's novelty had worn off for most of the American public. During a set at a Massachusetts ukulele festival in September 1996, Tiny Tim suffered a heart attack and fell off the stage. Following an 11-day hospitalization, Tiny Tim returned to performing, and in December 1996, participated in a benefit concert in Minneapolis. During Tiptoe Through the Tulips, he cut himself off, claiming he felt sick. As his wife tried to guide him to a chair, he fainted. Tiny Tim was rushed to a nearby hospital, where he was declared dead from a cardiac arrest. The singer was 64. In 1963, a song about a 12th century saint named Dominic, sung entirely in French by a Belgian nun, went all the way to number 1. Janine Decker, a member of a Fisherman monastery, released an album of religious songs after being noticed by Philips Records. In particular, the song Dominique hit big in the US, where the singer was marketed as the singing nun. Deckers appeared on The Ed Sullivan Show in 1964. Her album went to number 1, and Debbie Reynolds even portrayed her in the 1966 biopic The Singing Nun. That same year, Deckers left her convent after suffering a crisis of faith. In 1978, over a decade later, she announced that she owed the Belgian government $126,000 in back taxes on her recording career, which she couldn't pay because she'd given everything to her religious order. In 1985, police discovered Decker's body in her home, alongside that of her singing partner, Annie Pescher. They were born in Kentucky. Rockabilly singer Ray Smith won a talent show, formed an immensely popular local band called the Rock and Roll Boys, and starred on a Kentucky TV show. In 1958, he signed with Sun Records, the influential label founded by Sam Phillips that provided early career breaks to Elvis Presley and Johnny Cash. 2 years later, Ray Smith and the Rock and Roll Boys notched their first national hit with Rockin' Little Angel. The song sold 1 million copies, went certified gold, and reached number 22 on the Hot 100. The group's follow-up songs all flopped, however, and Smith & Company never had another hit single. Nevertheless, Smith remained in the music business. His biggest success? He wrote Conway Twitty's 1970 country number 1 15 years ago.
Twitty.
Frustrated and despondent over his inability to find lasting work as a musician, Smith moved out of the U.S. and settled in Burlington, Ontario. In November 1979, the former hitmaker died.
2 of the S's in here I had to bleep out. You know, when you become an artist, and when I say that, I mean like when people start to notice you, when you like can't walk down the street, you know, when the fame really kicks in, it can be 2 things. People say a blessing or a curse. It depends on the person. Like, if you somebody I'm gonna just say this show, like, for instance, let's say Ruth. I forget her real name, but let's just say Ruth, the girl from that show, The Ozarks, like, or that show Ozark. Imagine her becoming. I think that she's saying. I'm just talking about her character. Imagine her. You see where she live at in that trailer park and all that. Imagine her becoming like a superstar artist. You know, it's so like totally opposite of the way you grew up and what you know. And sometimes that fame is like hard to deal with. And I mean, a lot of people do turn to drugs. For one, they're easy to get. Everybody's doing it. It's part of the lifestyle, but I don't think people really grasp how strong and how effective addiction is. When their body starts to crave this stuff, and then next thing you know is bringing on other complications. And you mix drugs with a bad diet, like people on the road just eating just whatever they want. It yeah. Always said I never want to be rich. I would take wealthy over rich any day, because rich just brings all types of issues and problems. Like, not saying you're going to change, but a lot of times the people around you might change, and it's hard to deal with. It's just sad seeing all these people who probably since a young age were aspiring to be a singer or artist, just whatever. And I know once they got in it, it wasn't what they thought it was going to be. They didn't know all the ins and outs and just all the sliminess and corruption and how people in the industry can treat you with your money and all that. And you're over here trying to take care of your whole family. But shout out to the Grunge channel for the video. I'll leave the link for the full video because there's some stuff I'm going to have to cut out. Appreciate y'all coming over and watching, man. Peace out.